Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. In the next 10 minutes, I would like to share, building upon the framework introduced by my colleague Zdravko Blažević, a case study presenting efforts to document, collect, and make accessible written sources on Iraqi music in the form of bibliographies and annotated bibliographies. I will share an overview of the processes involved in identifying repositories of written knowledge, the challenges encountered, and the promises held by such effort within an ecosystem of musical knowledge production interrupted by war and displacement. In April 2003, the National Museum of Iraq, the Iraqi National Library and Archive, also known as INLA, and other governmental institutions holding materials with cultural heritage significance were subject to widespread looting and partial destruction. In the aftermath, it is estimated that the Iraqi National Library and Archive, INLA, serving as the primary repository of printed materials in the country, suffered a loss of 25% of its print material, including books, rare editions, newspapers, as well as a significant portion of its archival materials. The former director of INLA, Dr. Saad Iskandar, speaking at the Internet Librarian International Conference in 2014, described the library as a cemetery of books. The period surrounding and following the invasion was characterized by widespread damage to cultural heritage sites and the partial destruction of some libraries and archives belonging to cultural, academic, and religious institutions. In the realm of musical heritage, the International Center for the Study of Traditional Music, the only official music documentation center in the country, holding a wealth of significant and rare recorded and print archival materials, suffered partial destruction. Located at the headquarters of the Ministry of Culture in the central Baghdad, the central manuscript collection and a portion of its archival recorded material were ravaged by fire in April 2003. Libraries and cultural institutions often become deliberate targets during times of war. In post-war period, physical and digital libraries and webs of information infrastructure should be recognized as sanctuaries for preserving written sources of knowledge. Beyond the information infrastructure of cultural heritage, holders of musical knowledge, master musicians, students, performers, and educators were forced to either leave the country or retreat from performing spaces due to associated risks and volatile security situation. Many music scenes in the country were interrupted, and others moved and started forming in other safer geographies outside of the country. Chain of musical knowledge transmission were also interrupted due to the displacement and movements of master musicians, educators, and students, and due to the interruption of the work of the two music degree granting institutions in the country. Even before the 2003-led invasion, decades of war and economic instability diverted public and private funds from music research and left much of the music infrastructure crumbling. In this context, we understand written materials on Iraqi music as part of the country's musical heritage. Books, periodicals, journal articles, newsletters, essays, master theses, symposium, and conference proceedings, dictionaries, encyclopedias, are publications delivering research and documentation on various musical traditions, biographies and autobiographies of musicians, news about music scenes, performance programs, and more. Written sources in time of crisis should be approached as holders of knowledge with a significant documentary role of musical heritage, scenes, and infrastructure that suffer fragmentation or partial destruction. In the context of the destruction and loss of INLA and other institutional libraries holdings, and the sale of many private libraries and the flea book markets across the country, and the ongoing challenges in building information infrastructures, interventions to document and index written sources carry crucial importance. Of equal importance is tracking written sources that are self-published and that circulate outside of institutional libraries. The intervention of RILM in this case is twofold. First, identifying written sources in public libraries, private libraries, and the flea book markets across the country's urban centers. Second, producing bibliographies of written sources and making them accessible through integration within the global libraries network. Like many countries with local publication hubs, and akin to the case of India, RILM seeks to monitor publication from local publishing houses, as well as those that are self-published and circulate locally, often among amateurs and students of various music genres. At INLA, with an available online catalog not integrated in WordCat, books and articles from all periodicals are identified by RILM staff. In other institutions, catalogs exist only in prints or are available on local servers. At the International Center for Traditional Music, for example, RILM staff documented bibliographic information of the library's book holding. Beyond institutional libraries, RILM seek to document bibliographic information and create annotations for rare books and other written sources kept in private libraries of music scholars and connoisseurs inside Iraq and among the country's diasporas. With 40 years, RILM staff also built on the only bibliography of written sources of Iraqi music that was published in 1981 by the Ministry of Culture and Information. With 40 years separating that effort and our, we approach music bibliographies with the understanding of local webs of knowledge production, with the awareness of their significance in preserving Iraqi musical heritage within a post-war context, and with the conviction in their scholarly and cultural contribution to the diversity of perspective on music research and education on the global stage. By understanding these local webs of written knowledge production and tracing their circulations, RILM team of scholars and editors bring a model of intervention to the global knowledge paradigm by preserving local writings of music, thereby expanding access to obscure written sources and eliminating barriers for learners, educators, and researchers alike. These efforts contribute to the first strategic goal of the UNESCO framework for culture and arts education concerning access, inclusion, and equity. Events of extreme crisis, wars, natural catastrophes, and mass displacement compel us to think critically of urgent ways to ensure the preservation of written sources of knowledge for current and future educators and learners. The loss of one written source of knowledge in any part of the world is a loss to all humanity, and the recovery of any written source of knowledge in any part of the world is a gain to all of us. Thank you.